Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. And my name is Alex, and joining us, as always, for this very special 300th episode is Rob. How you doing there, Rob?
Hello, yes, Alex, I am ecstatic. I'm so excited to be here.
Rob is wearing... Well, that didn't sound genuine to me, mate, to be honest, but you're wearing a tie there.
Alex, this is a momentous occasion, and I thought, well, you know, I want to keep things formal. I want to keep it above board, and I wanted to really mark the occasion.
You say that, Rob, but I wasn't expecting you to bring the Honey Monster costume out again.
I mean, that's one of our high points, isn't it?
Well, yeah. The Criminal Prosecution Service, I think, would disagree, Rob. Well, look, it is our 300th episode, and it's all listener stories to commemorate this special occasion. Do you know what? We've been going for 300 episodes, and I was trying to think of a suitable analogy for this podcast, and I thought that given that we're called Local Anaesthetic Podcast, what this podcast reminds me of is, on the first episode, it's like somebody's gone into hospital for like a routine operation, a minor thing. They've been given some local anaesthetic, but unfortunately they've gone into a coma and they've never really woken up. That's really what this. That's really what this podcast is about. We flatlined.
I assume so. I'm hoping that it might be slightly more engaging than that.
I think there are some faint flickers of life going on, but
hopefully so. And I'm sure our listeners will interject if they feel so.
Yeah, well, that's true. Now, look, we've had some 300th episode well wishers, including, would you believe, from Andy Parks, one-time editor of the News Shopper, but I do believe he's now ex-editor because hasn't he gone on to Pastures New?
He has, yes. So I thought it'd be nice if I just to drop him a quick message just to let him know that obviously we've reached our 300th episode, and obviously as he was a key feature of many episodes of the podcast, I thought I'd drop him a tweet just to see if he had anything to say, and he responded. I'm delighted to say he responded with a little help from Steve.
Was it a cease and desist response?
No, it wasn't. It was very well, let me read the response out anyway. He said, although I no longer work for the News Shopper, I'm still immensely proud of what the paper and the website have achieved. And we don't really care about that. Given LA Podcast concentrates on funny and weird stories, it's not a surprise that it's featured so much from the News Shopper. A very happy 300th episode.
Thank you, Andy Parks. Did you respond to him?
I did. I said, thanks, Andy. Very much appreciated. Hope this finds you well, and good luck with the new role. And he responded, you're more than welcome. This is a new venture for 2020 and is looking good so far. And if anyone's interested, he's working for the consultingbureau.co.uk.
I believe that when I saw that reply, I think he was wearing a red cap, and on the front of it says, make Andy Parks great again.
That's true, yes. And apparently he is selling those caps if anyone is interested.
Yep, they're $5.99 a pop. Any other? We've had some other well wishes, haven't we? From greetings from people. I don't know what the word is. Well wishes.
Well wishes, yeah. So yeah, just to start the podcast with two. The first one's from Amy, who just says, "Woohoo! About bloody time." Slightly sarcastic, Amy. I don't think that's needed. But anyway, congratulations.
Well, we couldn't get there faster, Rob. I mean, we'd literally have to be recording every day, and that would have taken about a year, and that would have been grueling.
Yeah, that is true. And I should have read these in the other order. I just realised that. But anyway, following on from Steve's top 5, I think you should pick your top 5 favourite listeners. I think that may cause an issue.
Yeah.
And also, can we bring back to the original weekly injection of mind-numbing local news, seeing it's a special occasion? Oh, right. So I think that means our original tagline.
Yeah. Well, that ship has kind of sailed, but I'll do it now. Welcome to Local Anaesthetic, your weekly injection of mind-numbing local news. What is it now? The most trusted name in local news, isn't it?
Yeah, and I agree with Amy. I do miss that.
Okay, well, we'll bring it back.
Okay.
It's going back to the old slogan.
And Steve just says, gents, congratulations on the milestone. If you were to make a top 5 list of your favourite moments in LA history, what would they be?
I think top 5... That time I did a full 45-minute segment just on Alan Ames, with the stories becoming increasingly more comical.
Of course.
That would. We couldn't breathe when we were doing that.
I would also say the time that we got in contact with Private Eye, and their very kindness gave us the article about what was it? What was the name they gave to Andy Parks?
I've got no idea, mate.
Yeah, that was a high point.
But Buddy the
of
cat.
Course.
That one.
I think
what about that story about that guy with the long lost love? That one.
That was exactly what I was about to say.
We did eventually find it, didn't we? But now I tried to remember what episode it was the other day, and I couldn't remember. So I've got to do the whole hunt again, Rob.
And also, finally, I think Sasha has to be up there as well, because that story was just unbelievable.
Yeah, Sasha the dog. I don't know, but those would be my highlights. I think definitely. It's really hard to pick them out. What worries me, Rob, is that I know there are lots of classics that we don't remember.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what would be in my top 5? Actually, without doubt. Because it was early on, and that's when I knew we were onto a winner. It was that story that I featured from the new shopper, Valentine speed dating for the under 8s, which I believe was the first or second episode. That would definitely be up there. I love that story. But anyway, before we get on to the other stories, I've just got a few. These messages are coming through sort of thick and fast. Thanks for your support all over the years. Happy 300th. That's from N. Edmonds and all the Pontin staff.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really touched that you took the time to write to us.
Tokyo Reporter, please keep featuring our scandalous and salacious stories. Don't worry, Tokyo Reporter, I think I've got one later. And one more message come through. Happy 300th. Will happily appear on your podcast, in brackets, for cash. Please contact my agent and now partner, Roland Rat Mallet. And that's double-barreled there, so I assume they've got married.
Right. I mean, that's good to know. And I think, to be honest, I'm going to get on the phone after this, because I'd love to have them on the podcast.
Yeah. We need to find out how much he wants to charge us first.
It's not going to be a lot, Alex, let's be honest.
Right, Rob, listen. These aren't stories as such. They're kind of like kind of updates, really. Steve sent us a story. I talked last week about llama weddings.
We did, briefly, yes.
All those llamas that were stolen from the farm, and I speculated that somebody had stolen them to put on a website, llamabrides.com, for people who are seeking a llama bride. Well, from the New York Post... Although, unfortunately, it's not quite what you think. It's from the 28th of April, 2019. Llama weddings are as real and bizarre as they sound. But unfortunately, Rob, it was a tease from Steve. Because what it's really to do with is couples getting married around Portland, Oregon or Vancouver, Washington can rent llamas for their weddings. And the llamas will turn up in formal attire. I'm looking at pictures of them now. They look ridiculous. One of them's wearing a top hat.
So like a wedding support llama.
I like that, yeah. Wedding support llama. Brilliant.
Mm.
Anyway, we can move on from that. And then Ben from Mansfield has also sent us a quick update because I'm pleased he did this because it punctures your bubble, Rob. All your scoffing at the idea that cats are being illegitimately killed by a human killer. Down in Sussex, they've arrested a guy for a load of cat killings. The man has been named and shamed and he's been charged with a series of cat killings in Sussex. And that was from the Brighton and Hove Independent. He's been wounding and killing cats. The bit that was distressing me, though, mate, was that because under current legislation, these animals are known as property, the only charge that can be brought against him is criminal damage. They can't do animal cruelty because it brings a lesser sentence. So they're having to prosecute him for criminal damage.
That's awful.
It doesn't really cut it, though, does it? I mean, it's not like stealing a TV.
I'm no pet apologist, but at the same time, I do think that animals should have more rights than a criminal damage law.
Absolutely, yeah.
That doesn't seem fair.
No, like I said, it's not the same as stealing a TV.
No.
Look, anyway, let's get on to the stories, the proper stories. Thank you, Ben and Steve, for those updates. They are much appreciated, as always. This is from Jack, who I believe is now knocking around in China somewhere.
I can't. Yeah, he did mention where he's moved on to.
He needs to try and stay away from that. What's it called? A pandemic?
I think it's bird. It's a mutation of bird flu, I believe.
Yeah. But is it like an endemic or pandemic? I don't know what it's called.
I think it's a pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty scary stuff. Apparently, somebody's got it in Scotland. Apparently.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that's something to look forward to then.
Yeah. This story is from the Devon Live, and I do need you to, in a second, to bring it up yourself because you do have to see it. And actually, if you're listening and you've got a phone or you've got a computer or a tablet in front of you, please do put in this headline from the Devon Live. This was reported by Joel Cooper, Chief Reporter, on the 9th of January 2020. Here is the headline. Meet the Devon woman whose knees look like EastEnders hard men, Grant and Phil Mitchell.
Okay.
And I do need to tell everybody that there's a video of her knees, which obviously we can't really play on the podcast, but everybody needs to go and look at it. I watched it before this recording, and we're recording for the Thucydides amongst you on the 23rd of January 2020. But here's the story. They say that everybody has a talent, whether it's singing, playing the oboe, or firing free kicks on the football field. But some talents are altogether weirder, as Holly Fairfax has discovered. Rob, can I ask you a question? What's your talent?
Podcasting.
If you had to pick one, what would it be?
Yeah, podcasting. No, that's I've got no other talents.
Given that at the beginning of this episode you read out a message from Amy, and who's the other one from? Steve.
Yep.
And really, the Steve message should have come before the Amy one for it to make sense. Given that you've had 7 days to prepare for this episode, is it really fair to say that podcasting is your talent?
Alex, I think it's fair to say that my organisation skills may be slightly lacking, but my skills on the mic are not in dispute here.
I thought that you were going to say your talent was shiv fashioning, because you had all that time inside to sort of practice fashioning shivs out of different kinds of materials.
Yeah, but I've been told I'm supposed to stop bragging about that.
Yeah. Anyway, it took Holly many years to discover her unique talent, but now she's found it, she wants to make the most of it. Rob, can you see the picture?
Yes.
Because apparently her knees look like Grant and Phil Mitchell from EastEnders. Describe for the listener.
Describe what exactly?
Her knees.
A pair of knees.
Come on, her knees. Describe them.
I mean,
knee cast.
I must. At a passing glance, yes, I could.
They look like two fat babies.
They do look like two babies. Yes, exactly.
So the video is basically her standing in front of a full-length mirror, showing her knees, and they're talking to each other. She's moving her knees, and it basically looks like they're talking to each other. And she does the voices of Phil and Grant Mitchell. And for any of our international listeners, Phil and Grant Mitchell are, how would you describe them, Rob? They were
comedy double act.
Well, yeah, but they were in a soap opera called EastEnders, and they featured, and they were brothers, and they were East End kind of Cockney brothers who were always sort of falling out and involved in dodgy stuff, and often had fights and that kind of stuff. Both of them are bald.
I think, to be honest, the US may get EastEnders. I think it's on BBC America. I'm not sure if they do, but yeah. Can I just? I'm watching this video and I'm really not sure what I'm supposed to be watching here, because
you've got to watch it with sound, Rob, haven't you?
Do I?
Yes.
I think
she does the voices. It's like Punch and Judy, with her knees. It's well worth watching. Holly from Braunton, who has a concierge business. I don't know what that is.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Said years ago I noticed that my mum had faces in her knees and I found it quite funny.
The woman. Can I just say that does sound like a Kate Bush song? The woman with the faces in her knees.
Faces in my knees could be a brilliant album by Kate Bush.
Yeah.
The long lost album. Anyway, I checked my own and I realised they looked like two bald babies, or Phil and Grant Mitchell. This was several years ago, and since then I'd forgotten about it really. However, she recently showed her talented knees to a friend who works in digital media, and they were very impressed. Holly said they were like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." We got chatting about it and made a couple of funny videos of them having conversations together, and people seemed to find it funny. People started asking Holly about her unusual skill, prompting her to get the Mitchells out. That's in quotes.
Alex, she has not got talented knees. Knees, by their very definition, do not have talent.
Rob, you need to see the video. She says, I've got them out at parties before and it just doesn't work. I look like a right lemon. Basically, they have to be the right lighting, otherwise it doesn't work.
Okay.
Holly says she's considering the next chapter in her Mitchell Brother Knees story. Mitchell Brother Knees story is a very, very good episode title, with a few ideas being thrown around. She said, I'm thinking about launching a YouTube channel for them, but I'm not sure about the longevity. Well, look at us. We've got 300 episodes on a very, very flimsy premise.
Yeah, just keep chucking out the same old shit. Someone will watch it.
She says, I think I'd have to come up with some funny sketches for them or introduce some new characters perhaps, but it could be really funny. Do you think it could be funny, Rob?
Nope.
Just seeing if there are any interesting comments. Oh yes, just Chinnery just simply says, the nuclear apocalypse can't come soon enough.
Yes, absolutely.
This story is from Amy, It's a great story. I love this story. I believe this is from a paper we've never featured before. It's called Spalding Today.
No, that's new. Yeah, so I'm guessing it's covered Spalding. I think that's. I mean, not that you'd know, but I think that's Lincolnshire.
Yeah, you should have asked me later on. I've got no idea, but you're right. It is Lincolnshire. It says it, Lincolnshire. Spalding Today. Props to you, Amy, because we love to feature a paper that we've never had before. So it's from Zoe Mile, 30th of January 2019. So she's submitting a year-old story for our 300th episode, but never mind.
That's fine.
The headline is Surfleet couple find human tooth in their fish fillet.
Oh, God. That's horrid.
I really enjoy the detail of the story. So, a man had a nasty shock when he sat down to eat his dinner, only to find what he believed was a human tooth in his fish fillet. Frank Banks, 94, Rob.
94?
Can I just say, if you're 94, right, I'm waking up every day thinking, fuck me, I'm lucky to be alive. I mean, what are you thinking? Wouldn't you be, like, constantly anxious? Because at that age, you can just die in your sleep with no warning.
But I assume... Yeah, I suppose you're right, but I'm assuming that maybe he has a positive outlook on life where he wakes up and he's like, another beautiful day, not, I haven't died in my sleep.
But do you think that you can just put it to the back of your mind? Do you think you can compartmentalise it like that? Do you think at 94 you just get on with it? I do think I'd literally be terrified all the time.
But Alex, we could do that at our age. We could be waking up every single morning. It's like, oh God, I made it through another night.
I do that. That's exactly what I do.
I'm sure he just wakes up and just thinks, what should I do today? I'll just go to McDonald's to get a McFillet or whatever it's called.
Well, no, Rob, no, it wasn't McDonald's. It was a Morrison's cod fillet and breadcrumbs.
Right, okay.
He lives at Surfleet Reservoir. I'm assuming he doesn't live in the reservoir.
What? Okay.
He could catch his own fish. When he began coughing, I was having the fish with some new potatoes and peas, and I just cut a piece off the end of it and was enjoying it, he said. I cut another piece off and I started eating it, and I thought, God almighty, what is that? It was hard and completely black, he says. Not a euphemism, I don't think. Just to be clear. He says, I took it and I washed it in bleach and I scrubbed it to see what it was. I couldn't believe it was a tooth. I knew it wasn't one of my teeth because mine are all false.
Good to know. I mean, there would be at 94. Why? I mean, I don't know if I found something...
It is a tooth. I'm looking at a picture of it now. It's definitely a tooth.
Why did he feel he needed to scrub it in bleach? Just to confirm his suspicions?
I think it was probably covered in stuff, but I don't actually know, you know. It's an intriguing element of this story.
Yeah.
Frank was eating dinner with his wife, Christine. How old do you think Christine is, Rob?
105?
No.
27?
No.
27?
Closer. 69.
Ooh.
Hey!
That's... what I loved.
Living the dream. Now, she's the one... Either she's waiting for him to pop off, or she's waking up terrified that he's going to go. Because if you're with a 94-year-old, you're going to be constantly... You've got to start making preparations, Rob.
I mean, there's a 20...
Do you think she's arranged a funeral already for him, you know? Do you think she's done it?
I mean, there's a good chance that... But he may have done that himself, to be fair to him. But, yeah, 20... that's a 25-year age difference. That's quite some... That's quite some years in between them there. But we're not here to cast aspersions.
Well, they were having dinner with their friend Robert Holmes, 67... I'm afraid it's all sounding a bit like a bizarre threesome to me. Last Wednesday evening, when they made the gruesome discovery.
Can I just are you suspecting there's potentially maybe a relationship going on between Robert and?
Oh, I didn't say that, Rob. But,
yeah. Oh yeah, you just come around again. Don't worry about it. You just sit down here. We're just going to pop upstairs just to check out the curtains.
Yeah, something like that.
You just enjoy your fish fillet.
He added, I washed my mouth out with disinfectant afterwards. I did not want to take any chances. You just don't know where it's come from. You don't know whether it's from where the fish was packed or if it was in the breadcrumbs. There is even a chance, they wonder, if it could have been picked up in the sea. Christine, who shops regularly at Morrison's in Pinchbeck, where she bought the frozen fish, packaged up the tooth and took it straight back to the store with her friend Robert. I have to say, I'm looking at the pictures of them and she doesn't look... What age was she?
What, Christine and Robert, you mean?
No, Christine and her husband.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't look 67 and he doesn't look 94. The ages are really hard to place. Anyway, she says, I bought the fish on Tuesday, the day before, and put it in the freezer.
I mean, if she was trying to, and we're by no means, suggesting that she did, or
it's an odd way to do it.
Yeah, it's a strange way to try and tip him over the edge.
Well, anyway, she says, we were going to have toad in the hole. Hey, I bet you were.
Not them, it was Christine and Robert who was trying to have toad in the hole.
We were going to have toad in the hole, but decided to cook the fish instead. Frank started choking. I patted him on the back and he spat it out onto the table. All three of us were horrified at the discovery and wanted answers over how the tooth came to be in the fish. It could have been worse if it got stuck in my throat, Frank said. Not a euphemism. It was the second lucky escape for Frank. Oh, sorry. This is the best line in the article, Rob, okay? Now tell me what you think. It was the second lucky escape for Frank after a house fire last April.
I mean, that escalated quickly.
Robert's tried. He's tried the house fire, but now that didn't work, so now he's trying the tooth in the fish.
But, I mean...
Because he wants to be with her, Rob. He wants to be with the woman he loves.
Yeah, maybe Alex, yeah. But again, a house fire is quite...
Yeah, but Rob, the house... It wasn't just a house fire. The house burnt to the ground. There's nothing left.
But to go from a house fire...
Hang on, Rob, wait.
Go on.
Christine was away at the time visiting family and Frank managed to escape unscathed.
Hang on. Sorry.
Amy, I know what you were thinking. You were thinking the same thing that we are right now. What a brilliant story, a classic for our 300th episode. Of course she was away.
Of course she was away, but I mean, she we all know she wasn't staying with family.
Oh, Rob, you can't say that. Morrisons have sent the tooth and the packaging away for testing, and the couple have been given a £10 voucher and refunded the £4.40 cost of the fish while the investigation gets underway. Do you think Morrisons have like a department, a tooth testing department? Oh, we found another tooth, Bob. Get it tested.
I would be more concerned if they did.
Absolutely. They've also been phoned by Morrison's head office, who said the issue is being looked into as a matter of urgency. We just want some answers over where the tooth came from. I don't fancy eating fish for a while, Christine added. A spokesperson for Morrison's told the Lincolnshire Free Press, we are waiting to receive the item the customer found. And until we can test it, we can't say what it is or where it has come from. Rob, can I just say that I do think after this episode, I'm going to have to do some research to find out what happened with Frank, with this guy, 94 years old. Because if, he accidentally cut off his head while combing his hair, then we know that something really dodgy is going on. Blackadder reference there for all of you. Then we know something suspicious is going on.
Yeah, that or a routine gas explosion or something along those lines. Something that, if you didn't put too much effort into investigating, would be completely ordinary.
Agreed. Okay, Rob, you got some stories for us there. Some stories for our 300th episode. Who are they from?
So I'm going to do two stories. One is from Craig. And
hang on, Rob. Hang on. I'm really sorry to interrupt. I did promise earlier because we're still getting these messages coming through. Happy 300th from all the lads on the Ark Royal. That's lovely.
Oh, they never forget an old seaman, do they?
They really don't. Thank you for bringing the truth to light and happy 300th. That's from Sasha the dog. Seems to really appreciate us exposing the truth way back when, whatever episode it was.
And I'd like to say personally my very best wishes to her, and I hope she's looking as beautiful as ever. Indeed.
We've got another story, another message come through. It's come through from Russian, and I've had to translate it into English. It just says, Happy 300th, comrades. The glorious leader is extremely proud of your work. Your contribution will be rewarded come the revolution. And that was actually from the Stroud News and Journal, would you believe?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say too much at this point in time, but das Vidania.
Yeah, and one more message. All the best from the staff at Orlando's in Norwich, in brackets just me. Please enjoy 30% off fees, all food and lodgings with this code Sushi Spectacular, because of course they do specialise in Japanese food.
So did you say 30% off?
I did.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, yeah. Listeners, you need to take advantage of that because I imagine that deal will go quickly.
It really will. Get down there. Sorry, Rob, I interrupted you. Please continue.
Yeah, so just my stories this week are from Craig and Kyber. Now, obviously, Craig hasn't been in touch, and so he writes, "Hi, it's been a while. Just thought I'd send a quick email to say I'm still listening to and enjoying the podcast, as always.
I'm still up to my neck in animal carcasses, but I found the time to finally contact
I
you.
shan't bore you with the reasons for my lack of communication, my lack of contribution to the podcast, but needless to say, the meat industry has proven an arduous endeavour, leaving little time for pursuing local news. All the best for episode 300 and beyond."
Oh, I love that.
And the story he has sent is the 15 of the most random, funniest, and weird things that have ever happened in Swansea.
Brilliant.
Now, I'm not going to do all 15. I've picked out what I feel are the top stories. I've picked out 5, which I'm going to read for you now. It is from the Wales Online, as always. It is by Katie Bellis, who is the video journalist. Strange. It's from the 5th...
It's a nothing job, that.
I didn't like to say it. It's from the 5th of October, 2019.
She's the caretaker, Rob, isn't she?
She's just been promoted.
Tell you what, she's always been the caretaker.
Do you reckon she's allowed to choose her own title?
Well, yeah, but it was a Shining reference, actually. I just had to squeeze it into our 300th episode, sorry.
Oh, fair enough, okay. So, the first story. 2 prisoners escaped from court and ended up running into a lamppost.
Hey? Sorry. Are these like these little snippets? They have links to the full stories. Are some of them going to be worth reading out in full in future episodes?
They're some of the really old stories, so
does that matter?
Quite possibly. No, not necessarily. Yeah.
If there are some classics there, we could feature them, couldn't we?
So, 2 prisoners escaped from Swansea Magistrates Court on January the 6th, 1982.
Hey?
Were running down the street away from the court. They ran either side of a lamppost, forgetting they were handcuffed together. They broke their wrists and were swiftly rearrested. Which is just
that
like
is pure Benny Hill sketch right there.
Yep.
Love it. Next one.
The man who had to be rescued after he was stuck in a hole in the pavement. In 2008, a man decided to retrieve his cigarette lighter from the 30cm wide opening in the pavement dug by workmen to house a new lamppost in Dilwyn Street. Unfortunately, the amateur potholer tried to go down feet first, leaving him stuck right up to his chest in the middle of the Swansea's busy city centre, much to the bemusement of passerbys.
I just wish it had been in the road with traffic passing over him, you know.
What, just cars driving either side of him down the road?
He had to keep ducking, you know, to avoid cars.
I mean, I would urge the listeners going, because he is just him wedged in this manhole. In the middle of a busy street.
I just like the idea that he managed to get the cigarette up into his mouth, and all you could see was his head poking out from the road, but just him dragging on a cigarette.
That's quite an image. His plight has now ended up being seen all over the world as up to 100 shoppers gathered around to capture the bizarre scenes on their mobile phones before uploading the footage to YouTube.
Can I just say, Rob, when I was younger, much younger, I was away on holiday with my parents somewhere in Italy. I think it was Florence, maybe. We were walking through... No, it's where the Leaning Tower of Pisa was, so it's Pisa. No, Florence.
No, Pisa. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is in Pisa.
But I think it's near Florence. I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. But anyway, we were walking along. We saw a man begging on the side of the street, and he had no legs. It was just a torso, you know, head and arms, and you know he was balanced on the ground. And my mum turned to us and said, "Why is he standing in a hole?" And we had to explain to her that no, Mum, he has no legs.
I think it's best if I don't comment on that particular anecdote.
Probably is, yeah.
Number 3, mysterious sad dog found on Swansea Beach on Valentine's Day with "I love you" balloon attached.
Oh!
What a headline.
Mysterious.
It was a story that got a lot
dog.
of people talking. Spotted on Langland Bay in Swansea on Valentine's Day this year, a dog had flopped resignedly onto the sand with a crimson heart-shaped balloon around his neck, saying "I love you." It was a scene that couldn't fail to melt even the hardest of hearts, especially when the forlorn figure got up and strolled towards the rocks, trailing his balloon sadly behind him.
Threw himself into the sea, Rob. I can only speculate that somebody gave that dog to somebody else as a Valentine's Day gift. And it had an "I love you" thing on him, but for some reason it ended in a blazing row, and somehow the dog, with collateral damage, maybe just got dropped off at the side of the beach.
Oh,
you know,
that's
to run into
quite
the sea.
I mean, we do know what happened to the dog, by the way. So It turns out the dog's owner was on the beach. He was just in the cafe, and the dog just wandered off.
I don't believe that.
But even though, as a Valentine's Day, that is quite. I mean, I suppose it's quite a sweet gesture to say. Oh,
yeah. But Rob, the worrying
to
thing is that was the man and the dog, were they in a romantic sort of relationship, a Sasha type relationship? You know.
That's a very good point. I hadn't considered that, and there's no further details on that. So there's a possibility that might be the case.
All right, number 4.
Sheep high on cannabis get the munchies. There was a warning that sheep high on cannabis and psychotic could start rampaging through a village in the Swansea Valley. There were once fears that the sheep high on cannabis and psychotic, that's the same sentence again for some reason. It's been claimed that Craig Cern Park might well soon be the area of sheep high on drugs after cannabis was spotted near the area. The suspected plants were thought to be remains of a cannabis factory, and concerns were raised by Swansea councillor Ewan, I'm not sure that's a Welsh name, Ewan Richards, who said the sheep were already causing problems in the village. And then the last story from this article, an automated email reply ended up on a Welsh road sign.
And what did it say?
It basically said, sorry, it's not reading this. So this was in 2008 in Carmarthenshire, and it translated as, "I'm not in the office at the moment. Please send any work to be translated."
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Craig. Look, I know you're busy. It's a hard time being in an abattoir at the moment, especially with this surge of veganism going on. Very hard time for your industry, but for you to pop up and send us those stories, it's absolutely first class. Thank you so much. So
my next story is from the Derby Live, or Derbyshire Live even. It is from Khyber, as always. This is actually from New Year's Eve 2019. And it's the most bizarre news stories that hit Derby and Derbyshire in 2019.
Oh, so there must be quite a few of these floating around. This might be quite a good way for us to find some stories we've missed. Because to be fair, a few of those ones you read out, we could have covered in full. I mean, they were that good.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 1, giant strawberry spotted walking down street. Phil Attenborough captured the hilarious moment a giant strawberry casually strolled down his street in Kirk Hallam. So number 2, farting bus. The bus was heard around Derby. A mysterious farting bus caused quite a stir around the city centre back in July. The number 1A Arriva bus, which runs from Derby to Alveston, left passengers bewildered by a strange noise heard coming from the vehicle. A spokesman for Arriva confirmed the flat-like noises were down to an onboard air dryer and posed no risk. A naked jogger around Sudbury Hall. In November, we published a story about a naked man who was detained by officers after he was seen jogging around the grounds of Sudbury Hall. He headbutted and punched a staff member who asked him to leave. As you do. Strelelin Istokov was 100% naked, that's a quote, 100% naked, with his genitalia completely exposed. South Derbyshire Magistrates Court confirmed the B&Q worker went on to run towards Sudbury Village before returning to the site, still in the buff. On his return, the 23-year-old was acting confident and slow, which is a strange...
Very strange use of adjectives there.
Yeah.
Can I just say, the fact he was a B&Q worker, all of this now makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of does. When he was asked to leave, he punched and headbutted a staff member before being detained by police officers. During his interview...
Can I tell you a quick story about B&Q?
Yep.
I think we get the gist of that anyway. There's a B&Q fairly near where I live. It's on one of those industrial parks. And there's it's a massive B&Q, right?
Yep.
And one day, next to it, popped up this huge sign on another building that said something like Trade Depot kind of thing, right? And it's got a set of double doors. So the B&Q next to it, it's got its own set of double doors, you know, the automatic doors.
Yeah.
And this Trade Depot thing has a set of double doors. And anyway, I went into B&Q because I was looking for some particular kind of screw or something, and they didn't have it. So I left, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this Trade Depot. And so I walked through the double doors, and I'm wandering around, you know, and they've got the faint music on in the background. I'm thinking, fucking hell, they have completely ripped off B&Q next door. This place looks virtually identical. And I go and look through all the screws, they haven't got them, and everything else, and I wander out and I'm sort of wandering through the store, I wander out the exit, and I realise I'm standing outside the other double doors outside B&Q. It's at that point that I realise it's all B&Q. The other bit is just called the trades entrance. So while I'm wandering around thinking, fucking hell, they've really ripped off B&Q here, I was literally wandering around the exact same store.
I'd love to say I'm surprised by that, Alex, but just to say as well that during his police interview, he said he had taken off his clothes after being attacked by a white and brown dog with stripes, which had bitten him twice.
What a load of old bollocks. If you're attacked by a dog, why'd you take off your clothes?
What if
maybe something else had been going on with that dog.
Possibly, yeah. And maybe the dog had bitten his penis and he enjoyed it, but that's only speculation. Two more small stories. Number 4, man steals doormat. A Langley Mill dad captured the bizarre moment a man trespassed in his garden to steal his doormat. Andrew Bailey, 38, said he noticed his doormat was missing when he returned home around 12:30 on June the 2nd. He said it wasn't until he checked his CCTV from footage from the cameras outside his house that he spotted a man appear to stroll up to his house and take the mat just before 11 p.m. Brilliant. Completely random. And my very last story from this segment, number 5, armed police stormed Derby house to rescue gerbil.
Gerbil from what?
I don't know. So,
from amorous owner.
Life of servitude. No. A gerbil made the front page. A gerbil made the front page at the start of the year in January after it was rescued from an Elms Tree house by armed police. Derbyshire police stormed the premises to retrieve the very hungry animal who belonged to a prisoner. Oh, that's quite sad, actually. The owner had been in prison for almost a week.
Well, we don't know what he did, but we hope your route to rehabilitation has been smooth and successful. Rob, look, as we are live here, well, these messages are live anyway, obviously people listening to them, it won't be. Some more messages coming through. Mm-hmm. John Mooner contacted us. I know the truth of your I know the truth of your extraterrestrial origin. That's all he says.
Okay, I mean it's good to know that he's very much keeping on topic there.
Yeah, we've had a message from an R. Maidley who just simply says, you're both scum and subhuman scum at that. It's not much of a 300th episode.
Oh, we
message,
can do
is
one.
It, Rob?
No. Come back to his fucking book club.
We've had a message from Snarl, the organisation. You might make light of a lot of butchered dead cats, but I've got a freezer full of them and their souls always ask me why.
I mean, that's quite an enigmatic message there, really.
Rob, do you remember Patrick Grafton Green, news shopper journalist that we featured a hell of a lot of stories from?
Of course.
He's contacted us. You want to hear a small, slightly comical story? 2 guys waste their time doing a shitty, insignificant podcast for 300 episodes while I carve out a highly successful career in journalism. Happy 300th, wankers.
Oh, that's upsetting. I've always had a lot of, I say respect for him, but that would be a lie.
Another message here. You ruined my life. That's from Jamie, owner of Buddy the Cat.
I mean, yeah, I think the microwave ruined your life.
Well, no, this is from... Well, that was from the owner, not Buddy. Obviously, Buddy's dead.
Yeah, true, yeah.
It's never coming back. And last one for now. I may have been caught with my hand up a cow and my trousers down, but at least I don't have my head up my own arse. That's from Anonymous from Uxbridge. Any idea what that's about, Rob?
No, don't think I do, actually.
It's not a farmer, is it? We had that story about the farmer who was caught with his hand up a cow.
No, maybe the pensioner. There's a pensioner, I think. The one who was...
Yes.
Used to take a scenic detour via a field full of cows. And, yes, anyway, the less said about that, the better.
Well, thank you for those messages. Right, another story here, Rob, from Amy. This is from the Metro, from Ellen Scott, from Saturday the 4th of January. Rob, this is a brilliant story, and I do encourage people to put in the headline because there is a brilliant picture, which I'll describe in a moment. Actually, well, as we get through this, I'm going to want you to look this up as well.
Okay.
The headline is, Fuming Pug Frank takes revenge on his owner by pooing on her favourite things.
Right, okay. What's happened
really.
to him?
This is the story, Rob, of an abusive relationship. Frank the pug has found a rather effective way of expressing his annoyance at his owner, Holly Munoz, by pooing on her favourite things. 7-year-old pug Frank takes revenge on Holly whenever he's upset or annoyed, leaving his poop inside her shoe, on her pillow, inside her makeup bag, or even in a box of crackers.
So, how did he get into a box of crackers to shit in it?
All I know is, Rob, is I am looking right at a pair of her trainers, and one of them is filled, the inside of it is filled with dog shit. I mean, it is literally, he sat on it and shat right inside it. He filled it up to the brim.
But
so there's this picture, Rob. Right now, come on, put in the headline.
Right, go on.
Fuming pug Frank takes revenge on owner. You'll get it, I'm sure.
Have you got a story about, I'm guessing her owner looking very forlorn on the sofa covered in a blanket with the dog, the dog with the solitary paw on top of her? It's a very strange image.
It's like a painting. She is.
It is.
She is lying on the couch, covered in a blanket, looking very depressed.
Oh my
next
god!
To her is a dog. Next to her is a dog bowl and her pug, and he's just got his paw on her back, like consoling her. So, Rob, let's continue this story. Holly, 40, first noticed the habit when she returned home after a holiday last year to find Frank had taken a dump on her pillow. She was convinced he did it to prove a point after he was left with the dog sitter. Since then, the dog has repeated his dirty protest tactic. Can I just say, Dirty Protest Tactic is a very good album title.
It really is, yeah.
So, Rob, he's repeated this 15 times, despite being completely house-trained. Holly, an assistant charity director from Kentucky, the United States, said, "You name it, Frank's pooed on it. He has incredible aim. He definitely does it on purpose."
Can we have the episode You Name It, Frank's pooed on it?
Yeah, I don't know. He wants to make sure we know he's angry. One time I came back from a trip and he pooed on my crackers and in my makeup bag. He's an angry pooer. If we go on vacation, he will poo on something. I'll probably spend the next 7 years finding...
if he's angry, he'll poo on it. I mean, I've seen the picture of the trainer, by the way, which is disgusting. And then this dog is literally shitting everywhere.
Rob, are you an angry pooer?
I try not to be, Alex. I quite enjoy my morning's ablations. Ablations? No, ablutions.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if when you got angry, like there's somebody out there that when they get really angry, they go and take a dump.
Do you know what though? I think. Do you not think if as a species, when we got angry, we automatically shit ourselves and couldn't stop ourselves doing that people would be their overall temperament would be a lot
less likely to make us angry. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
She said, "I'll probably spend the next 7 years finding and cleaning up his angry poos. I picked him out of a whole litter and made him part of our family. And you can't unfamily someone just because they poo in your shoe." Yes, you can. Holly, who's mum to Olivia, 14, and Oliver, 11, so she called her kids Olivia and Oliver. Help me. Reckons she'll never be able to stop Frank from taking vengeance in the form of poo. Rob, for our 300th episode, can our episode title be Vengeance in the Form of Poo?
Oh, absolutely. That is one of the strongest episode titles we've had in a long time. Yeah.
She says he knows it makes quite the statement after all. Holly said, "My son Oliver is his favourite person. They sleep together and they're attached at the hip. So when he went to a sleepover, Frank was annoyed and he pooed in my shoe. We have 3 other dogs, but we know it's him every time. He doesn't even have a guilt face. There's no shame at all. We foster dogs and we think he'll do it if he feels slighted or because he wants more attention. But I still love him. He's the most loving dog. He loves the kids. Every time they aren't there, he's beside himself. And that is the story." My worry is that one day, I don't know if she's a snorer, but you could wake up, couldn't you? With
Oh, God. But it does sound as though the dog is quite attached to her. Is it her son, you said?
Yes, they sleep together, Rob.
It does sound as though that Frank's vendetta is against her, not the family. But then, as you rightly say, I think all she needs is a particularly heavy sleep where marriage stays open and it could be woken up by quite a nasty surprise.
Indeed. Now, Rob, as we come to the home straight, really, of this 300th episode, I was meant to feature a very good story that Jack sent us. It's from Japan. It was quite a lengthy story, and I did really cut it down. But in the interest, well, look, we're not going to have time to feature it. Basically, I'm going to have to feature that on our 301st episode. So, Jack, I apologise. Rob, before you get into the story, we have another message here. Quite a relatively long one. Okay, Rob, this is from Alan Ames, Rob.
Okay.
I'm holed up in solitary confinement in Gambia, long story, but I wanted to use the one text message I was allowed to send to wish you a happy 300th episode. Like an eagle escaping captivity, I have no doubt you'll continue to soar to great heights, only to be captured again and subjected to a lifetime of desperate bondage. Alan Ames. Thanks, Alan. I found
that slightly threatening, but
well, that's in his character.
Not really surprising.
Okay, what's your story, Rob?
So my very last story, just to round off this episode, is again from Khyber. It's from the Metro, so it's not technically a local news story, but especially as it's from Russia. But it's from the 7th of January 2020, so I think possibly the first story that we've had from this year. It's from Faye Brown, and the headline: Pigs break into supermarket, smash bottles, and they help themselves to whiskey.
Eh? What?
Yep. Pigs
Right.
like whiskey, apparently. We all
This
know
kind
the
of thing
story
could
that-
only happen in Russia, I feel.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
We all know the story of the three little pigs, but it took a dramatically different turn when it played out in real life.
I need to just stop there. I don't know the story of the three little pigs. Do I need to know it to understand this?
About the houses being blown down.
Never heard of it.
Okay. No, I don't think you do.
Oh,
so
the
let's
one
just
with the
carry on.
wolf.
Yes.
Yeah. I always call it the wolf
Good.
story.
I'm glad that's been clarified.
I always call it
Another-
I always call it the wolf story.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Keep going.
A mother and two piglets escaped from their farm and went for a night on the source in the Siberian town of Troyman. The pigs let loose in the snow before taking refuge from the cold in a local supermarket. Within minutes, the mother pig sniffed out the alcohol aisle and used her snout to knock 2 bottles of cognac on the floor.
They say pigs are very intelligent, you see.
Apparently so, yeah. I've heard that. In the spirit of waste not, want not, all 3 piglets began to lick up their mess as horrified shop staff called for help. One customer complained, "Is this a pigsty or store people?" As the hogs helped themselves to whiskey, but one shopper had a bit more sympathy and joked, "We all like a drink at this time of the year." The break-in came during a week when most Russians took a long holiday for New Year and Orthodox Christmas Day.
Vladimir Putin Day.
Just to say that obviously that's very different to the Orthodox Christmas Day, although I've no idea when that is. Staff eventually kicked out the pigs, and they were later collected by the owner, according to local reports. Piglets may have a reputation for being greedy, but they aren't the only ones who enjoy a big night on the sesh. In 2017... I thought you were going to say Boris Johnson then.
No.
Yes, Boris
But they
Yeltsin
should call the
before.
pigs like Boris and Yeltsin. That would be,
Yeah, that's nice actually. I like that. So in 2017, an opossum broke into a Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Sorry. The same pigs.
No. An opossum was known as a possum.
Oh, a possum.
Broke into a shop in Fort Walton Beach in Florida and proceeded to get hammered on bourbon whiskey.
Is this a recurring thing of Russia? This is
Apparently
brilliant.
so, yeah.
I reckon they probably have a TV show, don't they? You know, like our police camera action kind of thing, but there's just features criminal animals. You know, it's like the CCTV recordings of animals breaking into shops.
I think I just heard breaking news that the Channel 5 just commissioned that.
When animals thieve.
When animals drink.
Hosted by
good
Craig
question.
David.
Yeah, I think you're right, Craig David, and also he could then sing the intro.
Yeah.
You broke into the shop on Monday. You were getting drunk on Tuesday, and etc.
Uncanny, Rob. Uncanny.
Thanks. The opossum was apparently okay. He sobered up at the Emerald Coast Wildlife
Rob
Refuge.
Davis.
and was later released unharmed. It doesn't say whether the pigs sobered up, but I'm assuming they were okay once they've been picked up by their owner.
Lovely stuff. Right, well, Rob, look, we bring this episode, the 300th episode of Local Anaesthetic, Rob, to a close, and we look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode and our next 300th episodes, Rob. Like a man, as I said at the beginning of this podcast, Rob, really still in a coma, showing slight signs of life. Maybe an eye's twitched, maybe a bit of drool has escaped from the mouth, giving all the surrounding relatives sort of false hope, really, if we're honest. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 301. And from after that, Rob, we're going to have to decide what our next milestone is. I assume it would be 400, won't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it has to be.
Which will be in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Rob, you look despairing, but don't be, Rob.
8 years, Alex. 8 years we've been doing this.
Have we? Fucking hell,
we started in 2012.
What? Yeah, but February 2000. Oh, shit. 8 years?
Yeah,
fuck
next
off.
month.
What?
Yeah, 8 years. 8 years, Alex.
Really?
That's why I was looking despairingly.
Yeah, you're right. We're never going to get that back, are we, Rob?
And I've loved every minute of it.
Right. Anyway, Rob, look, we are drastically running out of time here. Look, we can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LApodcast. We're on Twitter at lapodcast.net. We're on Spotify. We're on all the podcast apps. Search for LA Podcast. Subscribe, leave us a review. There's a donate button in the top right-hand corner of our website. Donate, leave us a monthly rolling donation, do whatever you want. We really appreciate all the listeners we've had over the years, international listeners, the UK listeners, don't we, Rob?
Absolutely, yeah, every single one.
And yeah, right, we're a bit slow there, but that's fine. And if you want to submit us a story and be featured on this podcast, send it to lapodcast.net at gmail.com. That's lapodcast.net at gmail.com. Right, Rob, you had an idea for a theme. We're going to spell out the word anaesthetic, and you had a brilliant idea. What is it?
Things that have been going for over 300 years.
Brilliant. But why 300 years? Because we've only been going for 300 episodes. I need to tell you, we've not been going for 300 years.
Yeah, I can't, because I don't know what other measurement we could use. So,
well, 300 episodes would be it, and not many things have apart from The Simpsons. Okay, things that have been going up 300 years. I'm going to go with A. Asteroids. Yeah. Come on!
Nice. Yeah. N, the country of Nigeria.
Okay, very good. Have I got A again?
Yeah, it is A, yeah.
Alligators. Have alligators been around for more than 300 years?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think so, because they're reptiles. Right. Okay,
yep.
I'm going with it. Of course they have. What am I talking about? Anyway.
E, well, Easter, I'm assuming, has probably been going for over 300 years. Not entirely sure, but I'm guessing so.
Well, of course, yeah. No, it has, Rob. Yes, it has. It was Constantine, wasn't it? And they sort of adapted all the pagan rituals of Rome and made them into Christian ones.
Yep.
Where are we now? S?
S, yep.
The sun. By quite a long stretch.
Can't disagree with that.
Not the newspaper, by the way. That would be really chilling. Hopefully they won't be around much longer. I'm talking about the actual sun in the sky.
Yeah, fair enough.
E, Rob?
E. I've done T. We're on T here. ST. So T. Trees. Trees have been around for a long time, so I'm led to believe.
Very good, Rob. H. I mean, the trouble is it's a bit too easy. I'm not just going to name animals because we could just go horses. Be here for it's too easy. H. Hand shandies. People have been, Rob. People have been, what's it called? Strangling the monkey or whatever. Strangling the chicken. I can't remember.
Yep.
Bashing the monkey for over 300 years.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, which is upsetting because my E was going to be executive relief, but I'm going to change it now. What's E? What E has been going? Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Am I on T?
And Eagle Heights. T. Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I think Robbie. I think you're cheap there because I think animals are too easy. T.
Okay.
Okay. Tails. And by that I mean
tails?
Yeah, tales. Tales. People have been telling stories, Rob, for the beginning of humankind, which is really what this podcast is about, Rob. Sitting around the campfire like we used to. We should have brought that back for this episode. We didn't. We didn't think of that, did we? No. Anyway, go.
No, okay.
I mean, you could have ice, couldn't you, again, Rob?
Could have I? No, but that's too easy, Alex, as you said. So I would be the Iceni tribe, which became the Saxons, which became us.
Is that true?
Sort
no,
of.
is it Iceni? I've never heard of the Iceni tribe.
The Iceni were the people that Boudica led.
All right, Rob. And C, for over 300
Crabs.
years, they've been around crabs. Try and
I thought
steal
so.
my thunder, Rob. Honestly. Fucking hell.
I'm sorry,
right.
Al. I'm
You
sorry.
wanted to finish this episode, Rob, by going back in time. Because Rob and I used to do a feature at the end of the podcast where Rob would ask me where somewhere was in the UK and watch me struggle with my geography. So, Rob, come on. We've got a couple of minutes. You literally
I've got
have to get on
4,
with it,
Alex.
though. No, we haven't got time for
Okay.
4. You're going to have to do 1, probably. We'll see how
What?
we get
Oh,
on.
fuck's sake.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Right, so this is all island-based. This is the islands of the UK. First one, Isle of Scillies. Where are they?
Oh, fucking hell, mate.
Isle
Do
of
you know-
Scillies. They're really well known.
No, I know. I've heard of them.
Yep.
I don't think they're on the east side of the UK.
They're not, no.
I don't think they're on the south side either. Where they are they? I think that. Okay, I think they're southwest.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Of. Yeah,
of like
southwest,
Torquay and all round there. You know,
yeah, we're not
Cornwall.
far off. Cornwall, correct. Well done, Alex.
Yeah. Well,
The
because
second
Torquay's
one,
in Cornwall, you git.
no, it's not. It's
Isn't
in
it?
Devon. No, it's in
Torquay
Devon.
not in Cornwall.
No, it's in Devon.
Well, just.
No, well, no.
Okay, you got more time for one more, you pillock.
Okay, Sark, the island of Sark.
Oh, you're only asking me about islands?
Yeah, this I said it's island focused.
For fuck's sake. I don't know. Near Ireland somewhere.
No, it's part of the Channel Islands, just off the coast of France. We'll squeeze one more in. Mersey Island.
Mersey?
Mercy.
Mercy.
MERSEA. We're actually not far away from it.
Well, it's got to be towards France with a name like that, no? Is it like off...
No.
It's in the Thames, is it? Or something?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just in the Thames estuary.
Right. Tried to catch me out there.
Yeah, pretty
Go
much.
on,
And,
go on. You might be able to do your last one. Go on.
Okay, the island of Cull.
How do you spell that?
COLL.
I love that. I want to go there. I think that's got to be off Scotland somewhere.
Correct!
Yeah. Where is it?
Would you like to specify which coast?
I think it's like the east coast of Scotland.
Unfortunately, no, it's off the west coast. But I think good guess, Scotland. It's apparently
So kind of above Ireland somewhere then.
It's an island located west of the Isle of Mull in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland, as though it's on the west coast near the island of Skye.
I feel like I did better there than I have in previous times, but not through any knowledge, just through sort of educated guesswork. But it was still piss poor, Rob.
I think you did better, Alex. I think people and also the listeners will see that. You should give yourself more credit.
But Rob, look, we are now bringing this episode to a close. We have been doing this now for 300 episodes. Is there anything you want to say to me or the listeners?
Alex, over this time, I've come to regard you as someone I met. And to the listeners, thank you for your dedication, your submissions, and your general love.
Yeah, I echo those thoughts, Rob.
Lovely.
See you for the next one. Thank you for listening. God bless.
And keep it local.